Hi, my name is Rod Cleef, and I'm the host of the Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing podcast. And every week I interview multifamily rock stars, and we talk about how they've built incredible wealth for themselves and their families through multifamily properties. So hit the like and subscribe buttons to get notified every Monday when a new episode comes out. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Multifamily Rock Stars. So this is where we interview people that are absolutely crushing it in this business, and we show you guys the inside scoop into how multifamily investors are creating massive success in their businesses and in their lives. And as always, I've got my co-host, who's the director of our massive action team for our Warriors, Mark Nagy, on the call. Mark, what's up, brother?
Well, I'll tell you something pretty crazy. I was looking right before this call here, and we've actually been doing this podcast now for a little over a year, and I think our guest today puts us right around, if not over, 50 students that we've had on the podcast so far, which is crazy from where we started this.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't had any come twice, so it's been all different students. Well, today we've got Sumanth Banda, and I think he handles investor relations at Arrows Capital, which is a group of warriors that have put together an operating entity, and they're doing great things. He's in over 500 doors, and we're gonna have a lot of fun today. Sumanth, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you, Rod.
Yeah,
I'm excited to be here, and thank you for inviting me to the show. My multifamily journey started listening to every podcast of yours. So every episode of your podcast, as I listened, that's how my journey started. And it's an honor to be on the show today.
Oh, well, thank you for that. Well, that is very cool. So, well, let's hear more about your journey. Okay, tell us, where you came from, and I don't necessarily mean geographically, but I mean, well, you could tell us that too, and I think that's obvious. But you could tell us where you came from. You're an immigrant like me, but more importantly, like business wise, if you're at a W-2 or all of that. But just give us your journey.
Yeah. I'm an engineer by profession. I came to this country back in 2002 for my graduate school, did my master's and PhD, and then started working in the Bay Area. I've been working as an engineer for the past 15 years here in San Jose, California. And I started real estate investing around 4 years back by buying some old houses and building new single-family homes here in the Bay Area. That's how I got it started into real estate. And then I started looking at how can I scale up this business, because I was doing one single family at a home at a time. And I started looking what is the other way I can invest in real estate at a much larger scale. And that's when I started looking into different options and decided multifamily was the way to go. And that's when I actually came to one of your boot camps. It was a virtual boot camp in 2020. And right after the boot camp, I made up my mind I was going to join the Warriors program, because listening to a lot of podcasts and a lot of people realized having a mentor was very important. And that can get me where I wanted and the goals I wanted to achieve at a much faster pace. So that's how I got started, joined the Warriors program. I had an awesome, excellent coach who guided me through the whole process because I was new to multifamily. I didn't know anything about multifamily, underwriting deals and all that. So he guided me on how to go about it, how to underwrite deals. I started listening to all your modules that are in the website, and then started talking to brokers, visiting brokers, and underwriting deals and looking at deals. So, yeah.
Okay. So you, on the team now, I noted on your bio that you're doing investor relations, but you actually did underwriting deals as well.
Yeah. So at the beginning, before I joined the team, I started on my own, and I was working with my coach. And I wanted to know the whole business. I wanted to understand the whole business. And I think underwriting is very important thing of the whole thing, because even though I'm doing investor relations, I knew from the beginning that was my strength. But I wanted to know how to underwrite deals and what goes into it, because if I'm going to take a deal to my investors, I need to be fully convinced that it's a good deal and how that deal was underwritten. So that's why I did spend a lot of time educating myself at the beginning. And the whole Warriors program actually was very good in terms of educating myself. That was a huge benefit for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you mentioned your strength there. What do you think your weaknesses are, and how have you gotten around that, or put people around you that have those strengths? What's been your strategy there?
So my strength definitely was investor relations, and my weakness, even though, like I said, my strength is investor relations and talking to investors, I would still say that my weakness was networking, right? Talking to new people. That was not kind of my comfort zone. Talking to people I know, friends and family, was easy, but going and talking to new people, networking, was something that I wasn't very comfortable with. So I had to make extra effort to make sure that I'm taking actions to actually network with people, get onto calls with people, talk to people, started off talking to other fellow warriors and other investors.
Nice. Now, everybody thinks that it's all, that everything goes perfectly, and you see these success stories. Talk about a setback, or, time, maybe you got your nose bloodied a little bit, or, something that happened that and if there was a lesson involved, and maybe what you got for it, if anything comes to mind, on this journey to, over 500 units at this point.
Yeah.
Any setbacks? Yeah.
Yeah. So when I started, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go underwrite deals, visit brokers, going to find some deals, get the money, close deals. But then it was a nightmare, right? You know how many deals you have to look at, especially in this competitive market. None of the deals were penciling out, right? All I used to do was look at deals, underwrite, but nothing was working. And that's when I partnered up with other warriors and joined Arrows Capital. And that's when, even after that, it took us some time before we could find deals, right? And that was kind of the first setback, was like, wow, it's really taking a long time before I can even actually close a deal. And then one of the setback that we had, once we had one deal under contract, is I think a day or 2 days before closing, the lender backed out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the lender.
I remember Lauren talking about that too, because I asked him that question. So what happened? How did you work it out?
Yeah, so we had to go, we luckily could file for an extension. So we got another 30-day extension, had to go scramble, find a new lender. And obviously, because we were going to close in 2 days, we already told all our investors, yeah, this is the date we're going to close. And now we had to go back to everybody, kind of explain the situation and tell them that, yeah, we're going to delay the closing and these are the reasons, and get their confidence, right? Because just telling them a lender is backing out raises a lot of flags. They're like, why? Yeah, isn't it a good deal? What happened? And all that. So that was one of the setbacks we had.
So obviously underwriting is a big part of what you just mentioned there, but what are some actions that you take on a daily, weekly basis that you think the people listening right now could do and get started with?
I think one thing I would say is make a list of actions you want to do during the week, right? Put down and write down, what am I going to do this week? Like for me, like I said, my main part is investor relations. I don't underwrite deals anymore on a daily basis, but because investor relations, I need to get more investors, talk to more investors, and have them sign up with our company. So I make a list of people that I want to talk to this week, and I have a target every week. I'm going to talk to X number of people and make sure I get that talk to so many people.
Oh, so you commit to making so many outbound calls. You push yourself.
I push myself.
Yeah,
exactly.
Got it. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. This is a numbers game, guys. I mean, it totally is. You work backwards into what you want to accomplish. In this case, it's investor calls, but it could be, it could be calling brokers. It could be asking for deals. It could be retouch with a broker. And, when you track it like Sumanth does it, the success is inevitable because you're going to stay with it. You're not going to fall into the lulls, So let me ask you this. Actually, I lost my train of thought for a second there. Well, let me ask you this. What is your, that's now I remember what I was going to ask you. It's going to be personal questions. Are you married, kids?
Yes, I'm married. Okay. I have two little ones. They're going to be 7 and 5 next month.
So that was my question. So obviously you haven't left your core job yet. You're still an engineer, correct?
Yes, I still have my W-2. Yeah.
Right. So you're still doing this on the side. So how do you manage that and still have time for your family and your W-2 and still, you're killing it with buying units. So how are you managing all that from a time perspective?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. And a lot of people ask me that is like, how are you managing all this with the W-2, right? So I think the daytime is gone, obviously, for my W-2 because I have a pretty busy schedule. But I make sure I have enough time in the evenings and in the night, once I spend some time with my kids, is I dedicate some time in the evenings. And also because I have to talk to investors, and most of them, I try to schedule them over the weekend. So weekends so I used to play a lot of golf before, and now that's kind of gone, right? I've given up
temporarily.
Temporarily stopped playing, and because I use that time to do other things, and no more Netflix or Amazon Primes or shows and all.
Or TikTok. Don't get me started on freaking TikTok. Good God. It's like a time suck like nobody's business. But okay.
So I'm giving up a lot of things.
Do you regret giving up any of those things?
No, I don't.
No.
Like Rod said, right? It's a temporary thing. I love to play golf, but then I realized this is a temporary thing. I'm going to get back to it once I have more time and I have things in place.
So besides, pushing yourself to, make those new contacts, which is something I struggled with for a long time as well. And let me ask you this. Would you define yourself as an introvert or an extrovert? Do you get more energy from being alone or from being around other people?
I think extrovert. You're
an extrovert. Energy. Okay. All right. So it was just a fear of going out there and pushing through and meeting new people. Fear, we all have a natural fear of rejection and all that. So it's probably that. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, let me ask you this. If someone is thinking about getting into this business and what are some questions that they may want to ask themselves about, this business, or really ask themselves about themselves? Does anything come to mind? I know I didn't prepare you for that one, but what are some questions someone may want to ask themselves looking in the mirror if they're thinking about doing what you're doing?
I think it comes down to what is your why, right? What is your why? Why do you want to do this? Or what is the reason? Because there are a lot of people, if that burning why is not big, right? They do look at different things, and I'm like, I'm going to do this today for 3 months. It doesn't look like it's going to work. I'm going to try something else, and they keep switching, right? But then if you have a goal in mind and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick to this because I believe in this. Like I said, it took me 8 months before even partnering up with someone, and it took me almost a year before closing my first deal. So I did not give up, because I could have easily given up in the first 4 months saying, oh, this is like a crazy market, nothing's going to work. But then I said, okay, what is my vision? What is my goal, right? My ultimate goal is I want to be financially free, and also I have my freedom for my time. And I was like, that was the important thing. And I had a goal in 5 years, I'm going to get to this. Right. So I stick to it and keep doing it.
So it was a year before you got your first deal.
Almost a year. It was like 10
see, guys, just those of you listening, I get this all the time with Warriors. It might be 6 months, 8 months, a year. And then the next thing I know, they have 5 deals. And look at you. Now, I don't know how many deals those 500 units compile, but it's probably at least 3 or 4. Yes.
4 deals. Yeah.
4 deals. There you go. There it is. So it's just crazy. When you get past that first deal, it's crazy how things open up. It's like that law of the first deal. It seems to be the hardest. It's the most stressful. It takes the longest. And then boom, you get your systems in place and you're off to the races.
And I remember hearing that from you on the podcast, and I was like, Rod always keeps saying that. Okay, so there is going to be a time for me.
Okay, good. Well, good. I'm glad. That's great to hear that influenced your staying power. I love it. Okay.
Yeah, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. If you go in thinking it's a sprint, you got to keep running. You're probably going to stop running, right?
Right.
If you could go back though, even before you maybe did the single families, knowing what you know now, what do you think you might do differently?
Something I think I would have gotten into multifamily much earlier, right? And the type of investments, right? Because before I educated myself into this and started knowing more about multifamily, the typical investment plan for me was invest in stocks and maybe buy a single family home as an investment property, right? But then after educating myself and knowing more about this whole business, the whole perspective of my investment has changed. And the most important thing is, how do I generate passive income? That's become the goal for me for all these investments. Is I do want a parallel stream of income that is in parallel to my W-2 income. So I have that flexibility that if something happens to my job, I have this passive income. So that is one of the biggest change, I would say, in my investment strategy.
Sure. How do you have you gotten any benefit from the Warrior program? Do you feel like you've gotten benefit?
Oh yeah, the Warrior program, like I said, it was an awesome program. One of the biggest thing is the networking, right? There's so many students. You see all these people. It's a very involved group. The coaching calls, and also within the Warrior program or the group, there are other subgroups. Like there's an underwriting group. That's one of the major benefit I got, and that's how I met my partner. Lauren was through the underwriting group. We had calls. We used to discuss deals and everything, right? And also, I think the mentor that I had was awesome. He used to guide me through everything, encourage me, and give me ideas of what to do. And I still keep in touch with him. And
of course. Yeah, we've got some incredible coaches. By the way, guys, if you're listening and you'd like to apply to be a Warrior, you text the word CRUSH to 72345. And you can look us over and we'll look you over and see if it's a fit. And I got to tell you, my Warriors own somewhere between 60 and 70,000 doors. We're trying to get an accurate count. That's what we know of. And it's incredible because I've only been teaching a little over 4 years. I'm very, very proud of that. So yeah, again, text CRUSH to 72345 to apply to the program. Did you have any epiphanies as you were going through this? Any aha moments? When you were either just getting going, or even after you joined the program, when you were like, okay, now I get it about a particular part of the business.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was when I attended your boot camp. Like I said, I didn't know anything about multifamily, and that was the first time I wanted to know what is it. And then when you were telling me or teaching people about how you can add, increase the value of the properties by increasing income, or like forced depreciation, right? That whole concept of forced depreciation was like, wow, this is awesome, right? That was one of the biggest thing. And also all the tax advantages that we can get from multifamily. These were the two things we were like, okay, I'm sold on this.
Yeah. I mean, if you do this as a business, you will not pay taxes. I'm just going to tell you right now, if you're acquiring properties, that's number one. Number two, let me give you an example of forced depreciation. We just had, we numbered parking spots at one of our assets. So we numbered them, and then we allowed people to pick their parking spot, which was closest to their unit, and they pay $25 a month for that. We had 100, I believe it's 110 pay $25 a month. And let me do the math on that. Times 25 times 12. Let's say divided by a 4 cap, divided by 0.04. That's an $825,000 increase in value. Okay. So, that's why we love this. That's why we love this business.
And that didn't cost anything, right?
No, I mean, numbers and paint, some paint on the parking lot. Yeah. And then we got to put reserved on the parking space so people don't park there, but that's it. And our team in-house did that. So it's goes straight to the bottom line. Same thing with a pet fee. When she inspected the units and it was did a fire inspection, she found, I think 64 people had pets we didn't know about at $20 a pop. That was over $400,000 increase in value. I mean, and they're insignificant one by one, but they add up in a complex. So
it's amazing how $20 can increase the value by so much. You don't realize, wow, it's only $10-20, but then that's a huge increase in value.
Right.
And then, like I said, that's the cool part. A single family, you have to do construction, put work into it to get the value to go up. You didn't even really have to put any work. You just had to have the knowledge. So that's the cool thing.
Right.
Sumanth, what's been your strategy though? Going from a single family to 500 plus units, right? A lot of people are going to think, oh, wow, how did he have the mindset to do that? What's been your mindset of size of deal, value add? How did you make that jump from one unit to hundreds of doors through 4 deals?
So, like I said, before I started doing all this, my goal was educating myself and listening to a lot of investors, talking to a lot of syndicators and everything, right? And one of the biggest, or most of the investors, or most of the syndicators, I would say more than 95% of them, when they were asked the question, what would you do differently? And all of them said, I would have gone bigger from the beginning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's when I made up my mind is I'm not going to start with these small units, like 4 units or 10 units or anything. I'm going to go big and at least target these bigger properties from the beginning. That was my strategy. And that's what I wanted to do.
Got it.
And real quick, just for the listeners, so they believe all of this, what was the size, the door count, do you remember, of your first multi-deal?
The first one was 125, and then the other one was 296.
Yeah.
So from 1 to 125 to 296.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, listen, Sumanth, I really appreciate you coming on the show. You've added value, and I know you've inspired people to what's possible, and absolutely appreciate you coming on. And we had a little slow start because Tiffy, my wife's 40th birthday, she'd probably kill me for saying that out loud, but is this weekend, and her dad surprised her. And so we had to start. I wanted to see that in video, her crying when she saw her dad. So we started a little late, and I appreciate your accommodation with that. But anyways, great to see you, my friend. Say hi to your partners, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah. Thank you, Rod.
All right. Yeah. Thanks.
Rod, I know a lot of our listeners are wanting to take their multifamily investing business to the next level. Now, I know you've been hard at work helping our Warrior students do just that using our ACT methodology, which is awareness, close, and transform. Can you explain to the listeners how they can get our help?
You bet. Guys, we've been going nonstop for 3 years, building an amazing community of like-minded people. And our coaching students, which we call our Warriors, have had extraordinary results. They've purchased thousands and thousands of units. And last year, we did over 1,000 units with our students. And we're looking to grow this group and take it to the next level. We're looking for people who want to follow a proven framework that's really step by step, and then leverage our systems and network to raise equity, to find and close deals, and to build partnerships nationwide. Now, our Warrior community is finding success in any market cycle. So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become more of our incredible network and take advantage of the incredible opportunities that are coming very soon, apply to work with us at mentorwithrod.com or text CRUSH to 72345, and we'll set up a call so you can check us out and we can check you out. That's mentorwithrod.com or text CRUSH to 72345.